Hey everybody, today's video is a very exciting one. I am pregnant. So as I am filming this, I am 4 weeks and 2 days. Today is Tuesday, May 30th, and I did find out May 25th, so last Thursday, so close to a week or coming up to a week now, and we could not be more excited. I do want to go over my line progression as well as a few symptoms that I have been experiencing, pretty much how we found out. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video. So I did start testing early, and I did test on 9-DPO, which would have been Wednesday, May 24th, the day before we actually found out we were pregnant. So when I took the test last Wednesday at 9-DPO, I swore I saw a line. And I let it sit for the 3 minutes, and then the more I looked at it, the more I convinced myself that it was an evaporation line, which now I am pretty convinced that it was just a extremely faint positive, but I discarded it, just threw it in the trash and didn't look at it again after that 3 minutes because I had convinced myself it was a negative. Fast forward to Thursday, May 25th at 10-DPO. I did not test in the morning, but then I went grocery shopping after one of my first clients. I am a hairstylist, so my schedule is a little bit flexible where I can kind of leave when I want. So I had a little bit of a gap in my day, and my fiance Chad was home, so I decided to test when I went home to drop off the groceries. And he went outside, he knew that I was testing, and we weren't really expecting anything. So when I did look at the test after the 3 minutes was up, I had put a little corner of the wrapper on the test, just covering the little test area where the screen is. And I had that covered up, and I just kind of took it off. And at first I thought it was a negative. And then the more I looked at it, I realized that there was no way it was a negative, and I saw a faint line. So that was my first test I took at 10-DPO at 11 a.m. Looking at the test now, it's clearly a positive, and it does sort of get darker as it dries. So it wasn't as dark as that when I'd seen it, but definitely a positive line. So of course I went and showed Chad, and we were really excited and nervous, and just a bunch of emotions kind of rolled into one. Because if you did not know, we did have a miscarriage back in February, at the beginning of February. It was our first time trying. We had gotten pregnant in January and miscarried right before my 5 weeks. So it is something that we are fearful of this time around as well, but we are trying to remain extremely positive. So I did do another test that night, which wasn't very convincing that it was a good sign. And I took that at 10-DPO at 7 p.m. So you can see that it looks lighter than the first one, which did make me extremely nervous, but I was trying not to show that because I didn't want to have any negative energy or let anybody know how scared I really was. I just think that other people play off your emotions, and I didn't want anybody knowing how upset I was, so I didn't tell anybody how I felt about the line being lighter. In my head, I thought that maybe I was having a chemical pregnancy, but that is not the case. So I did test again in the morning at 11-DPO, so here is that. So you can see it was about the same as the night before. So at that point I really was not feeling too positive about it, but again, I did not tell anybody. I also took a digital the night before at 10-DPO when we had gotten those first positives, and it said not pregnant. So I knew that I was really early already. I actually tested at 3 weeks and 4 days, I believe. So still really early, about 4 days before my missed period, which I have missed now, which makes me so happy. And I took that, and I just thought, okay, I'm not gonna get another digital test. I just had that one from the last pregnancy sitting in the cupboard. I did not really want to go out and buy another digital test. I had that one from the months before because after our miscarriage, we did not prevent, we just kind of decided to let nature take its course. And we did not get pregnant for 2 cycles, and then this was our 3rd cycle after the miscarriage. And our due date is, according to the calendar, the date after I miscarried, which I miscarried February 3rd, and our due date is February 4th, so it's an extremely bittersweet moment. So I really wasn't too upset that it said not pregnant just because I had the line test. But then when I tested the next day on Friday and the line looked the same as the night before, I just was not super confident, and I didn't want to really say that to anybody, and I really was trying to not let myself feel that way. I was trying to stay extremely positive, but the thoughts in the back of my head of it being a chemical were pretty strong. Saturday at 12 DPO in the morning, I took another test. and you can see that this one is much darker. So that made me feel a lot better Saturday morning when I saw how much darker the test was. And those first 3 tests that I took, the 2 line test and the digital, those were all within 19 hours of each other. And I know that the HCG hormone, which is the pregnancy hormone that you have, it doubles every about 48 hours, so I knew that I was testing really close together, but I'm extremely paranoid, especially after the miscarriage, that I was just wanting to see the line go darker. And I do know that the amount of dye in these tests does vary, especially by the box and the lot number, everything like that. So that is something to keep in mind too. If in the beginning your tests don't seem to be going any darker, give it a few days and then test. And I wish I would not have tested on Friday because I completely freaked myself out for no reason, and then Saturday morning I had 2 perfect lines. The test line was almost as dark as the control line, as you could see. Sunday I did not test at all because I did not have any pregnancy tests left, and I had told Chad at this point that I was not testing again. But then Monday came around and I did something I should not have done. So if you did not see my miscarriage story, then you do not know that I actually found out I was pregnant that time by taking ovulation tests. I had a ton of positive ovulation tests in a row. I think it was like 5 days in a row. They were extremely positive. And then I took a pregnancy test and it was also very positive. So this time around I had 1 ovulation test left from the cycle, and I just thought, okay, I'm gonna take it and just see what it says. Well, I dipped it, waited the minute or 2, and it was stark white negative. Like, just think of an ovulation test that only had the 1 control line. There was not even a trace of a line for the test line, which of course made me nervous, even though I know in my head that an OPK does not have to be positive for you to be pregnant. And I've researched that and I know that, but because with my first pregnancy it was positive at that point in my cycle, I was convinced that it would be positive this time around as well, even though it was a completely different OPK. So of course I kind of panicked. I told Chad that I was running to town and I picked up more tests. So I got another first response, and I also got the Clearblue digital and their plus or minus test. So when I tested yesterday, which was Monday, I would have been 14 DPO, and this is the result of the first response. And you can see that the lines are pretty equal in color, and the test line may even be darker than the control line, but it is hard to tell. And then here is the Clearblue plus or minus test. You can see that it is very positive as well. And then the digital, which says pregnant, and this is the one. I am extremely glad that I did pick this up, just because for my own peace of mind, I did want that test, especially after the slow line progression in the beginning. 8 DPO, which was May 23rd, I wrote that cyst type pain in both ovaries, low center as well, but a bit stronger feeling, so it hurt a little bit more than it had for ovulation, but I still wasn't in that much pain. And then I had a burning sensation all over that was really low, so pretty much just like a burning, like almost like a tingly feeling. And I had back pain still, and then that lasted all day, and it felt really heavy in my pelvis area. And then at 9 DPO, that first day that I tested when I thought I got the negative, I wrote that I had the same feeling as yesterday upon waking up, but it was more on the left, even though it was still both sides. Light cyst pain, achy, heavy, and bruised feeling still. Backache started to go away last night and was gone by morning. So I believe that I did implant on 7 and 8 DPO. And I think that's why my back was hurting. It was actually hurting really bad, especially when I was sitting down. It actually felt the best when I was standing, which sort of surprised me, because usually when I do have back pain, it feels better to sit or lay down. So that was at 9 DPO, and then obviously 10 DPO I tested and got my positive. 10 DPO I was just kind of feeling a little bit achy, a little bit sick, sort of nauseous, and that is one of the reasons I actually did test, is because I just was not feeling very well. And my period had been starting the last few cycles around 10 to 12 DPO. So I was sort of convinced at this point that my period was just starting a few days earlier than what it should. So I didn't write any symptoms down or anything, and then obviously I tested and you saw my first faint positive. Same kind of feeling the next day, a little bit nauseous. I didn't get sick or anything. I have not yet, knock on wood. And I just kind of felt achy off and on, and it does sort of feel like my period or PMS cramps, but really light. They're not extremely painful or anything. Usually when I am on my period, they are pretty sharp feeling, and right now it's just like a dull ache, so not bad at all. I hardly notice it. So that was what I had also experienced Friday, just like a really dull ache, but nothing bad at all. Same thing Saturday, just sort of a dull ache off and on. Same thing on Sunday, and then Monday I did start tracking my symptoms in the Ovia pregnancy app, which I had not done up until this point. So this was yesterday. I put that I had a change in vaginal discharge, which it's more of like a creamy consistency. I'm also pretty bloated. And this is sort of normal for me when I have hormonal changes. I'm usually bloated when I ovulate, I'm bloated when I'm on my period. I was bloated in my last pregnancy as well before I miscarried, and I am bloated this time around as well. I've also been coughing a lot, and I have like flu, cold-like symptoms. That could also be allergies though, so I wrote that down, but that could just be allergies because it is springtime. My boobs have also been sort of hurting, but it's not the PMS feeling I'm used to. It's more just like a really dull ache, really like underneath on the sides and more like right in the front. It's not too bad, it just feels a little bit different and just kind of tight. I have also gotten a few sharp pains in my breast, kind of like going toward my nipple area. I have also been feeling extremely exhausted and tired. I took a nap, I think it was like, was it Saturday and Sunday, both days for a few hours in the afternoon, which I have not done in quite a few months. So I've been feeling very exhausted. I've also been kind of gassy and frequent urination as well. I've been having heartburn and acid reflux issues, but that is completely normal for me on a normal basis anyhow. I've been getting some leg cramps, especially in the upper area where the thigh meets the abdomen, like in your pelvic area. I've been getting cramps there. I've also been feeling a pressure really low down in the center, and it feels extremely hard to the touch. I've had shortness of breath, which you might notice in this video. I talk very fast anyhow, so this is something that I'm going to need to work on, sort of like slowing how I talk and taking more breaths for sure, because I have noticed the last few days that I'm already starting to get the shortness of breath. I've also had an appetite decrease, but I do believe that that is just because I have not been feeling very well. My nausea has been lasting for most of the day. It only goes away for a little bit, so I've been trying to drink water, eat crackers, have a lot of fruit, and trying to get protein in at least once a day. So those are pretty much my symptoms, and today it's like late morning, so I can't really say too much other than I've been feeling nauseous for most of the day or most of the morning so far, and it's nothing too bad. I've been feeling pretty tired when I wake up, and yesterday I did actually sleep in until almost 8 o'clock, which I have not slept in past like 6:30 and probably 2 or 3 months. So that was sort of shocking for me, and I've just been feeling tired, a little bit nauseous, nothing out of the ordinary for hormonal changes for me. I usually feel these when my hormones fluctuate, either when I ovulate, I'm on my period, or pregnant. So if you were to actually ask me what was different between PMS symptoms and pregnancy symptoms, for me personally, I would say not a whole lot, because when I was tracking it and looking back from my last 2 cycles after the miscarriage, they were pretty similar except for the back pain that I was feeling. Felt kind of familiar from before, but I couldn't pinpoint why my back was hurting that way. And now I'm pretty sure that it was implantation cramping or something to do with the hormonal changes in my body, which my back ache has gone away. I do get it a little bit off and on, but for the most part it is not persistent at all like it was for those few days, and I am feeling pretty great. I think that's all I want to cover. This video is probably going to be an extremely long one, so if you are still here, you are a champ. Thank you for sticking around. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you stick around and subscribe. I plan to do more videos like these, probably not every week, maybe once a month or so. So make sure to leave any questions you have down below that you want me to cover in these videos. I'm going to show you what my stomach looks like in just a second. I am extremely bloated like I said, so that's all you're really going to see. I definitely do not have a baby bump or anything. That's not something that will happen for some time yet, but I am very bloated, as you will tell, and I do just want to show you guys, as well as have a reminder for myself as to what I sort of looked like before. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that. This is probably not the best shirt to do this in, but you can see up here, I guess I can switch. You can see it's a little bit flatter here, and then right around this area here, it's sort of a little bit bloated. Thank you guys so much for watching my 4-week pregnancy update. If you are pregnant, let me know down below. I love to chat with other ladies going through similar situations to me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye everybody.